All right, so what we're going to do next is what I think is really fun about computer programming is getting the computer to do something. So obviously in the beginning you can't just create Minecraft. You know that takes a lot of time and you got to know a lot of stuff first. But we're going to do some very basic programs here to start off and see if we can get them to work. It definitely is challenging because you got to type things like exactly right. But I'll probably post some code up here later too if you get stuck and need help with it. So the first thing is we're going to use this site called REPL. I think it's called REPL.it or something like that. But anyways, I put a link to it right here. So in today's folder, just click on that and it's going to open right in a web browser and just use your Google School Google login. So click here in the little Google thing and then, hopefully it'll log you in and then just create one. So we're going to do create and there's a lot of different programming languages out there, but we're going to use one called Java. So it's actually a professional one. Minecraft was programmed in Java. It's actually one of the most popular languages. So we're going to click that and just hit create. It'll give you some weird name, but it doesn't really matter what the name is. Okay. And so you've got a bunch of information here. Here's the name of your file. You can actually close that if you want. Give yourself a little bit more space. Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. Okay. And kind of the nice part is they give you some code already. So you don't have to necessarily know what all this code does, but really the line that matters here is this one right here is just going to print out hello to the screen, right? So it's called system.out.print line, and it just prints a message. And so whatever you put here in double quotes, that's what it's going to print. I'm going to hit run, and it might take a second the first time it runs, but it'll just print out that message. Okay, so you can see it prints hello world. So the first thing I'm going to have you do is just do your own idea. So maybe print out like your three favorite movies or print out a quote or something like that. So see if you can change it to do that, right? So if you want to pause the video, you can give that a shot. Okay, so all I'm going to do is copy and paste this line, and I'm going to print out some favorite movies. So I'm just going to say favorite movies. And let's see, what are some of my favorite movies? I really like Good Will Hunting. I always list that as my favorite. And then, let's see, what other movies do I really like? I like The Godfather. That's a pretty good one. I don't know if I'd call it my favorite, but I'm having a hard time thinking of other movies that I like right now. Not gonna lie. And then maybe Rounders. It's probably a movie not too many people have seen. But anyways, so I'm gonna run it now. Okay, and you can see it prints out my favorite movies. Okay, and if you're Dysantoria and you're struggling to get this to run, I put the code here, so I'm gonna kind of update some code along the way. So if you need to copy and paste it or look at it in more detail, there's the code from the one we just did. So it's out there in today's folder if you need it. Okay, so let's make one that's a little more interesting. Okay, so maybe we don't want to do our math homework and we got to do our Pythagorean theorem over and over again. Okay, so you can write a computer program that can do this for you, right? Computers are really good at doing repetitive tasks and can do them quickly and accurately. So we're going to do one where we have the two legs and we've got to find the hypotenuse. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a line called double and then type leg 1 and then set it equal to 5 or something. Actually, maybe I'm going to do 3. So what this line is saying is this is the type of variable we're making. So in a program, you might have like strings, like words, like text, basically. Those are called strings. Then you might have numbers, and doubles is a way to represent a number. All right, so I'm doing a double variable. This is its name, which I'm going to use it to reference later in the program, and then I give it this value. So this 3 means I'm going to make this value be 3. Okay, so see if you can do a second leg here. So see if you can do some code that would make another leg. Okay, so it would be double, give it a different name, 4. And so I can't name it leg 1 again because you can't have two variables with the same name. but we're going to call them now leg 1 and leg 2. Okay, and then next up I just have to do the calculations to figure out the hypotenuse. Okay, so if you forgot, you're gonna like square the legs and add them together. So I'm gonna do this in steps. So I'm just gonna call this variable step 1, and instead of giving a value like 3 or 4, I'm gonna have it be like leg 1 times leg 1 again, because that would square it, plus leg 2 times leg 2. Okay, so I'm going to square the legs and add them together. Oh, and I should point this out too, that all your code should be between these two curly braces. If you type it outside of them, it's going to be messed up. So make sure you put it inside all of that stuff. Sorry, I should have said that earlier. Okay, so now I just need to do the square root of that. So I'm going to do another variable, call it like step, well, maybe I'll just call this one hypotenuse since that's what it is. Right, and I'm going to do the square root. So in Java to do this, you got to type math dot square root, and then I'm just going to give it the thing I want to take the square root of. So I'm going to do the square root of this number, which is going to be different based on what the legs are. Okay, and then the final thing is we want to tell the user their answer. So I want to type that system.out.println, which is what we had before. And make sure this is a L, not a 1. Oftentimes I see students put a 1 there, but it should be an L. And so I'm going to print out your hypotenuse is, okay, and then so I'm going to do double quote, that's going to be some text, and then put a plus symbol and do hypotenuse. So what happens there is it's going to just add to the end of this string whatever the hypotenuse number is. Okay, so it's going to be based on what these legs are. So now if we run it, this should be 5. Okay, so boom, it does it 5. And kind of the cool part is we can change it now. So if we change the legs to 4 and 4, that'll be like the square root of 32, I think. So you can just rerun it and boom, you got your next hypotenuse. Right, so that's kind of slick, is now you can do your entire Pythagorean theorem over and over again. All you gotta do is just type in the different numbers, hit go, and boom, it gives you the hypotenuse relatively quickly. Okay, so that's the end of program 2, and then I'll save this one out there for you again, but then so I'll put it right in today's folder, which I don't know why it's not showing up, but I'll put in code for program 2, and then I'll start a third part of this. Okay, so next up, now that we got this working, is we can have more fun with it by like interacting with the user. So instead of these being just typed in by us, we're gonna ask the user to enter them. Okay, and so this takes a little bit more code, but I'll give you some of the steps here. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do is import. At the very top, you're gonna type import java.util.scanner in a semicolon. I probably should have said that all the Java lines end in a semicolon. I should have said that earlier in my video. But anyways, you put that outside of all the curly braces, put it way at the top, and this just tells the program that we're going to use this scanner thing, and so we need to say we want to use the scanner. Okay, and then inside of the curly braces in here, we're going to do make a scanner variable, which gets used input from the user. So type scanner, and you can name it whatever you want. So scanner is the type of variable. I'm just going to call it S. I'm going to say equals and then new scanner, and then in here type system.in. Okay, so just like we have system.out to print stuff out, we have system.in to get information in. Okay, so you got to type this line exactly like this: scanner s equals new scanner system.in. Okay, and then what we want to do next is tell the user to enter the data. So I'm going to do a system.out.println, and again, that's an L, not a 1, and say, please enter the legs. All right, and so what happens then is instead of just setting this to be 10, I'm going to set it to be what the user types in. So I'm going to do the scanner, so S, and then type dot, And then there's one called next double, right? If you wanted to do words, there's one called next line, I think. Gets like words, but we're going to do a double. Okay, so that's going to get a double, which is just a number from the user and store it in leg one. Okay, so we're going to do this same thing here, next double, so that it comes from the user. Okay, so now our two doubles are not going to be typed in, they're just going to be whatever they type in over here. Okay, so now when I run it, you'll see that this line is going to say, please enter the legs. It's going to ask them to enter the legs. Okay, and then we got to type them in and hit enter. So I'm going to do 3 and 4 and hit enter, and then it'll spit out the hypotenuse. So it's kind of cool because now the user can do it. So you hit go and then type in some numbers, whatever number you want. 5, 4, 5 and 3, and there's our hypotenuse. So it's kind of cool. The tricky part is like if you make one mistake, it blows up. So like your semicolon doesn't work right, or you type a wrong variable name, or you don't put it between the curly braces, then you're going to have some issues. So for distance learners, this might be kind of tough. In class kids, I'm hoping to be able to help you out. But anyways, again, if you need this code, I'll post it so that you can kind of reference it or copy it or whatever. And I encourage you to play around, right? Once you get these working, do your own thing, make your own idea, do a currency converter, do one that makes fun of your friends, do one that says hello to the person that types in their name. Like dream up your own idea and see if you can modify the code that we've already done to make it do your own thing. It's a pretty cool idea. If you like doing this, you think it's fun, exciting. To me, it's really cool once you see your program running. Consider the class in future years. It's called AP Computer Science. I'm the teacher for it, and we'll build more and more complex things, right? This is just the basics, but you can get some pretty cool stuff. And that's actually kind of the closing thing is I'll post a link in the folder. I don't have it there yet, but I'll post another link in here to some programs that kids have made in the past to give you an idea of what you can accomplish if you take that class at Rogers High School. So that's all I got. Thank you for watching and have a good day.